My name is Stephanie, and I'm from Waycross, Georgia. Jesus. Jesus to me means freedom. I'm a person in recovery from drugs and alcohol. And one of the ways that I found the New Day Oasis ministry is whenever I was in Waycross, I was in a recovery center. And she would always come there, and she would just always bring so much gifts and so much love. And right when I kind of first met her, I felt like an instant connection. You know, I just knew that somewhere in the future that I wanted to be with her and to work in her ministry and stuff. So, you know, as time rode out, I was able to get closer to Jesus and to really build a relationship with him. And then I started feeling the prompting of, you know, hey, look, it's time for you to go to Gainesville and, you know, help out with what, you know, Miss Donna is doing with the ministry that she's doing. I got set free from drugs and alcohol and a promiscuous lifestyle. And I know that it's possible for others to be set free if they have the right kind of guidance and being taught the right kind of things. Because a worldly recovery center never worked for me. It wasn't until I met Christ that I knew what freedom from drug addiction was. Absolutely. No. Love gets perverted by men. And that's the only way that women know how to connect. And that is so much deeper than that. That is a really good question. For me, how he ministered to me, you know what, let me say this, is that how he was able to minister to me is in many different ways. But I couldn't fully come to Christ because I had so much shame in me. And this Bible college that the New Day Oasis, that she's a acting dean on, we did a study on 2 kinds of righteousness. And I could not wrap my head around righteousness because I'm like, there is not a righteous bone in my body. And it's because of all the shame that I carried in my heart and on me that I could not fully connect with God. It wasn't until I understand the simple term that righteousness means right standing with God. So when Jesus is loved, when I open up my heart to him, when I gave him what was in my heart, which was nothing but shame, bitterness, and hate, when I gave him that in my heart, he gave me a love for people. But I didn't get a fresh revelation of that until I really started digging deep into the Word, because, you know, by then the words, they were just words on a book. And now it's a living Word of God that comes to life off of the pages. And you can see yourself in the stories and in the Bibles, and you can apply that in your life. I don't think that you can forgive yourself. How can you give yourself something you don't have? You have to receive the forgiveness from the Father to give it to yourself. And and there have been people in my life that I have not always been able to forgive. And it wasn't until I read a Corrie ten Boom book, which I really hope I get to meet her when I go to heaven. But when I read a book called Hiding Places, I realized then that it is the forgiveness that flows from God to other people, because there's other people that in my life I'm like, there's no way in the world you want me to forgive them, God. Like, how? You know what they did to me. And he said, you're not going to. I'm going to forgive them through you. But you have to be open so that it can flow. And it's been able to. And I'm not bound by unforgiveness. Because when you're bound by unforgiveness, a lot of anxiety will create, and you just start spewing out bitterness. There's only a one-letter difference between bitterness and better. Better, what are you going to do? You're going to get better, or are you going to get bitter? Because it's a one-word difference, like one letter. Are you kidding me? That is so important. Okay, I have been kind of on my own. I mean, even as a little kid, there were things I did not know how to do because I had not been taught. So I had to come up with my own way, and it either made it harder on me or no sense. And so mentorship, when I think of that, there's two women that I think of, and that's Kathy Sweat. She helped give me like a spiritual birth, you know, and then Donna Day. She has learned, teaching me how to be confident and strong in God. And those two women, I'm so thankful to God for both of them to pour into me, because Miss Donna, she is a powerhouse, and she teaches me how to be confident and how to listen by the Spirit and not by what other people say, but to walk. And you're not always going to know what the whole entire plan is. But the thing is you have a piece of the plan. So you take that, you complete that piece of the plan, and then you move on to what God gives you next. But mentorship is so important for someone who hasn't had someone to pour into them, to teach them everyday life skills, you know. And, you know, it's a type of mothering, you know, in a sense. And, you know, I've seen women who don't know how to cook or any of that. And it's important for someone to come along, because if the right kind of person is not going to teach them, I promise you the wrong kind will. Okay, so when you're in addiction, the only thing you're worried about is getting your next high. You're so focused in on that next high, and you're very selfish, because you'll hurt anybody and you'll do anything. Well, when you get a mind of Christ and you start stepping over into walking with Him and learning to love like Him, you want to serve His people. And I think that as a person in recovery, you have to get outside of yourself, and you have to realize that other people are important, you know, and that it's not all about you, but it's about, hey, how can I help you get to your next step? Hey, how can I help you complete your vision? You know, I'm there because all my life, I was focused on the wrong kind of things. So I want to spend the rest of my life to be focused on the right kind of things. And if Jesus got down on His knees, if you can just close your eyes and just picture, He got down on His knees to wash dirty feet. You got to think, these feet were not like nothing that had been into a salon. They had calluses on them. They were dirty. But He got down there, He stooped down there, and He washed their feet. That was the lowest level of servant that someone in His position could ever have, but it was so important to Him for them to have the clean feet. And that's why, I mean, whenever you're walking with Jesus, why do we not think that we're not going to have to get down on our feet and wash somebody else's feet? I don't understand that. So, I mean, that's why serving other people, but I have a heart for serving. I mean, I love making sure that someone is okay and they're not hungry and they're not thirsty. When you go through seasons in your life and you know what it's like to go without, and you know what it's like to be thirsty, and you know what it's like to be hungry, you're going to do whatever you can to help serve someone else so that they don't feel what you felt. I do. But it's not just physical food, it's spiritual food. Because I believe if we don't start pouring spiritual food into them, where are they getting full at? Where are people getting full at if they're not? And you know what? Even when you're serving, it's nice to go somewhere and to be served, you know. And it's nice to have someone pour into you to pour into somebody else. Empty cannot fill empty, and broke cannot fix broke. And that's why it's important to serve other people, but also to let other people serve you. If God did it for me, He can do it for anybody. I have been in the darkest of the dark place. I'll put it to you this way lightly. Everybody knows the 10 Commandments. I broke every single one of them and then some. And all that shame that I carried, He wants to take it all from you. He loves you so much that He thought you were to die for. And He would do it again and not even think about it. And just hold on. There's nothing too bad that you could ever do to make God stop loving you. Because if anybody has tried, it has been me. I ran from Him. I didn't want nothing to do with God. Because I affiliated God with people. But that is not who He is. He is a God of love. And you might not have an earthly father. You might not have someone good to look up to. That's good, because He has a whole new standard to bring to the table. It's something that nobody else can give you. I didn't have a dad around. My mom was in and out. And I have a Father. He takes care of me. And even when I was in my mess, He still took care of me. When I cursed Him, He still took care of me. As long as there is breath, there is hope. And just don't ever, ever give up or ever think that you're too far gone. I thought I was way too far gone with needles hanging out of my arms. But I wasn't. And He healed me from the inside out. If you're out there and you're struggling, He loves you. He adores you. And He's waiting on you. All you have to do is just open that door just a crack. And just give Him something to work with. And trust Him. You've trusted everything else in this world and it has gone wrong. Why not trust Him? Why not just take that step of faith and say, hey, what else do you have to lose?